Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of the iTunes Fanboy Podcast. As always, I'm Teddy Maggart from the iTunes Fanboy.
I'm TabbyCat406.
And my name is DeWolf.
And as always, we are back here again with a very exciting episode of TIFP with 21 topics, so we sure, or maybe 22, depending on what if we decide to add anything, but our first topic, just getting right into it, is the new iPad Pro.
Very nice piece of machinery. Or device, I should say.
Yeah, I suppose you just got it.
Yeah,
I can turn the heat on in here. Nice. It's freezing
in
here.
The iPad Pro, and it is really nice.
Yeah, it's a really nice iPad hardware-wise, but of course we've gone into iPadOS in terms of software way too much on this podcast, so I don't really want to.
I will be going into this in a video. This iPad feels especially Mac-like.
Yeah, it's
multitasking and how things launch feels very similar to like a Mac from the Catalina era, maybe Big Sur era. It is it's a very big upgrade, I'd say. I don't know if anyone else is realizing that. I haven't really watched any reviews on it, but it is fast. Like, there's a noticeable difference for me between M1, M2, and M4.
Well, I would hope there be, considering that they skipped M3.
M2 was already scary fast. Well, I should say M3 is scary fast because that was their tagline, I believe. But M2 was very fast on the iPad.
Yeah, I'm still really struggling to figure out why this hardware upgrade matters. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's cool, just like every previous upgrade. Every upgrade they add to it is cool. It's just, how is it useful?
So I think a lot of this is, I went into this on my iPad 3 video, but I kind of got into how iPads used to have these massive jumps year over year. You know, we had the iPad 1 to the iPad 2, major redesign, just an upgrade in basically every area. Then the iPad 3 to the 4 was just this monumental jump in processing power. You know, we got the lightning port, the battery life on that thing lasted forever. Then we went from the 4 to the Air, which is a complete redesign, you know, thinner iPad, lighter iPad, big processing. Well, yeah, that was a pretty big processor boost because that was the first 64-bit iPad. And I feel like Apple's trying to kind of recreate some of that with new iPads, you know, just to show people, look, we can do a lot with our hardware. You know, it's not that we've run out of ideas, it's that our ideas are going to cost money. So they bumped up the iPad Pro's base price, but they also bumped up everything on the iPad, just proving they still have innovation. It's just the innovation they have costs a lot of money.
That's true.
Yeah, it's just, a lot of what they changed is, I don't think is really going to help increase the sales that much. Like, there is one thing I can definitely note about this new iPad Pro lineup. If you're an artist who uses the Apple Pencil a ton, you guys are going to love this new iPad.
New Apple Pencil does look nice. I didn't pick that up. Thinking about maybe picking up the Apple Pencil with USB-C.
Yeah, the Apple Pencil Pro, my favorite. Going on a side tangent about the Apple Pencil Pro. Well, I guess this isn't a side tangent, but the Apple Pencil Pro. There's some things I like about the Apple Pencil Pro and things I don't. Now, I'm not an artist, so I'm not going to get into the big details of what all it can do because it seems like a very nice upgrade. But the one feature that I do care about is that it has Find My support, which is excellent. Because if you lose your Apple Pencil, then there's no way to track it, but now there is. So
Honestly,
really
who hasn't lost their pencil?
Yeah. But there's one thing that I don't like about the Apple Pencil Pro, which is that it's not an issue with the Pro itself, but rather, Apple didn't discontinue the Apple Pencil 2, nor the first generation Apple Pencil, which now they should technically have discontinued the first Apple Pencil because there's no more iPads that support it that are sold brand new. But But
I mean, the iPad 10 supports it, but like, come on, why?
the Apple Pencil of USB-C
Why
is a
would you get
superior
that
choice, and
I want to say,
more-
isn't the first gen Apple Pencil still $99?
yeah,
I think so.
Well,
It's-
the USB-C
it's-
one is cheaper.
it's more expensive to buy a 9-year-old Apple Pencil. It's more expensive to
That
buy.
makes no sense.
They're kids that are younger than 9, younger than the first generation Apple Pencil, are old enough to use the Apple Pencil that's still being sold.
Why are they still
Yeah.
selling that? That makes no sense.
It's just
Oh,
crazy to
jeez.
me.
I know, right?
I mean, I guess there is a product that came out not too far after, I believe, Teddy was born. The Apple Super Drive, which I think is still being sold.
The Apple Super Drive, I think that was actually released. That was released 2 months before I was born. And the iPhone TTY adapter that was released in 2007 alongside the first iPhone.
You know, I'm kind of surprised that they never sold a USB-C version of this Super Drive.
Yeah.
Well, the Super Drive doesn't even work properly with Mar Max.
Really?
Snazzy Labs tested it. Yeah.
That's weird. That is very weird. Guess I'll have to find a different drive once I actually start burning music to CDs. Because, not gonna lie, when I had my 2011 MacBook Pro, when I attempted to make music on it, I did use the CD drive.
Yes, because CDs, if you want to buy music on a successful physical format, the CD is technically the best format you can get. Because I'm sorry, but records are very overrated.
I don't understand the appeal for it. I'm sorry, they just sound bad. And
Yes, CDs and more importantly MP3s just sound so much better.
I think it depends on how you listen to them. I've never really listened to a record, in my own house.
I have before.
I don't have the equipment, the hardware, but I can see the appeal. People want to see, actual mechanical stuff working, but personally, I just use streaming. It
So
works
much.
for me, so I use it. But I definitely can see the appeal for records, and it's also a collection thing. People
And if you
collect them and all.
want to own your music, then the iTunes store does technically. People act like you. I find it funny how people reminisce about the days of iTunes, but
I know.
You-
It's
the-
still
people
there!
people seem to fail to realize that you can still buy music on iTunes today.
Yeah, and you can buy more than just music. You can buy movies and TV shows. Like,
And
I've
more
been
impor-
purchasing Bluey episodes off of Apple TV.
And
or the
more
iTunes
importantly,
store.
with music, and more importantly, with the iTunes store with music, a lot of the music that you used to listen to on your back in the day, it'll still be there.
Yep, I don't know why people will act like that iTunes is gone. It's still there. It's just a lot of us have used Apple Music because it gives us access to a whole library at once.
Or unfortunately, or more commonly, Spotify, which
Eh.
I really don't like Spotify.
Me too.
Yep. I've already gotten on enough rants about that.
Yeah.
Anywho,
But-
what were we talking about? iPads?
The iPad Pro, and another thing I want to say about the iPad Pro is I like how thin it is because it shows how Apple cares more about thinner products, but here's a funny thing that the YouTuber Kelson01 pointed out.
What is he grabbing?
Some sort of an old machine, I'd say. Or not machine, old device.
So, Remember how Apple said that was the thinnest? How Apple said that the new iPad Pro is the thinnest device they've ever made.
Oh, you grabbed an iPod Nano, didn't you?
7th generation. Well, there's something interesting about the thickness of the iPad that there's something interesting about the thickness of the iPad that Apple seemed that Apple hid.
What?
Apparently, camera bumps don't exist.
I guess so.
Huh.
You know what I thought you were going to compare it to?
What?
I thought you were going to compare it to one of those tapered edge MacBook Airs. And compare it to like the thinnest part of the MacBook Air.
Yeah, no, I did not. Yeah, no, technically. Yeah, no, but this is still technically
I
the
always
thinnest
thought it
Apple
was
device
crazy
Apple's
how
ever
they-
made.
Yeah, I always thought it was crazy how they made this so thin to the point where it almost looks like they didn't have enough room for the headphone jack.
Wow.
Gosh,
yeah,
this
they barely
focus
did.
distance, it's terrible.
Yeah, this is such a good... Yeah, the iPod Nano 7th generation is one of my favorite iPods in my collection.
This
I
was
have
my
one
first
that I
Apple
have.
device.
Yeah, I actually have one too. I got it. It's got a funny story behind it. The day they discontinued it, I went and I realized there's one store that still had them in stock, so I went a few days later and I went and put all this money out for a brand new 7th generation iPod Nano. Got one of the last ones ever sold, to the point where the estimated purchase date on some websites doesn't even like recognize it as sold properly, because I did get it later. But definitely a device that I like. Still have the box. It's in okay condition. I used to take that thing everywhere, even though I
I
had the
lost
7
my
Plus.
box. I have no idea where it went.
Yeah,
I don't...
that was the old plastic box, like the old translucent, transparent, whatever box. I really liked that.
Yeah, so
I
do...
miss iPods.
Yeah, it was
iPod-
durable packaging. Presented the device on display. I love that so much about.
Yeah, I
Their
do.
Packaging
Old
used to be
packaging.
so good.
I personally like... I honestly hate the old iPod packaging with the plastic enclosure because that just to me makes it feel more flimsy, and I prefer modern Apple packaging.
Yeah.
That feels flimsy to you?
Yes, it does.
I had the 5C. That was the first ever activated phone I really had. And that phone had the coolest unboxing experience ever. That thing, it was like an iPod Touch, but on an iPhone it just felt so much more premium. You know, it
Yeah.
felt like a premium experience. Yeah, it kind of felt like you were unboxing a... It didn't feel like you were unboxing a toy, actually, because it was high quality materials compared to cardboard, where it feels like you're... The new iPhones, it kind of just feels like you're, you know, unboxing a dozen of eggs or whatever.
That's precisely what it feels like.
They really cheaped out on the box materials.
On the box materials this time, they're not cheaping. They're not. They still use high quality box materials for today.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
the experience really has been dulled so much.
Unfortunately, because of the and I guess while we go on, I guess we shall
Airplane is
talk.
above you right now.
Yes, the my yard is currently being mowed.
Oh, that sounded like a huge airplane, dude.
It's a gas mower, I assume. So
Yeah, tell them to get electric mowers just to keep the noise down.
that actually help. Oh, and there's some neighbors across my street with a couple of people riding in the bed of the truck.
What the hell?
Yeah, never
What?
never ride the bed of a pickup truck, just FYI.
Like... Huh?
Yeah, my neighbors
What?
across the street, they
That's-
were pulling out of the
It's
driveway
legal?
and
No, it's not legal.
I mean, it sounds like they're
It
having
is
a
not
fun
legal.
time. Sounds like they're having fun, though, so...
I don't know, getting back on getting back on topic, I guess we shall. Getting back on topics, which what we were talking about, how the decrease of the unboxing experience. This is my favorite. This is actually a great segue into one of our other topics, which is that the new iPads are excluding stickers unless customers in store request them. Now, at least customers, yes, at least customers can request Apple stickers, and I was never a big fan. I like collecting Apple stickers, but I don't like using them. But a lot of people, like a lot of average Joes, use Apple stickers, and Apple's at this point just doing it for the environment. But at this point, they're taking away from our own experience just to allegedly save the environment, just to achieve carbon neutrality. But I have news for Apple.
You know what's funny though?
Yeah.
iPads haven't included Apple stickers for the better half of... They haven't included Apple stickers for 7 years now. They stopped with the 10.5 inch.
They did?
Yeah, it was either the 10.5 or the 11 inch. It was probably the 10.5. That's what I remember it being. So my least favorite iPad stopped including Apple stickers. Well, actually, second least favorite.
Let me look at my iPad Air 5 box to see if there's Apple stickers, because I swear this comes with Apple stickers.
I remember in 2019 I was looking for Apple stickers, and I was like, I swear, look it up, the 10.5. At least mine. Either that or the first.
I gotta check my sticker collection.
And I opened my new iPad Pro.
Oh my gosh,
like,
there are. Nope. Oh, I thought there were no stickers at first, but hang on. Let me figure out how to grab. Yep, there are stickers in my iPad Air 5 box.
Do I have an iPad Pro?
What color are they? The same white?
Yeah, the Airs are the same white.
Oh, yep. Yep, this is appropriately sized for the iPad box. Yep.
Huh, maybe it's just the Pros.
Could
be.
be.
It's all. This time it's both the iPad Air and the iPad Pro, which we'll get. Which, speaking of the new iPad Air, well, after I get onto the point that I was previously going to say, which is that my news for Apple is that carbon neutrality is scientifically impossible because it violates the first law of thermodynamics, which is that energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but it can only be moved from one place to another, and it's impossible to keep energy keep 100% efficiency. So yeah, that's not good. Apple, please stop removing stuff from the packaging just to achieve the scam. But getting back on topic does anybody have anything more to say about the stickers, or shall we move on to the new iPad Air?
The Apple stickers were a pretty big part of Apple's brand, I'd say.
Yeah,
it's a little. I always found it as like a thank you for buying our product.
Yeah, Apple's literally known for this, and they're not doing it.
Yeah.
It's like this is the equivalent of IHOP. This is the equivalent of IHOP saying we're not going to serve pancakes anymore.
This reminds me so much of what Mr. Who's the Boss was talking about. He made a whole video dedicated on talking about this one problem within so many different industries. Shitification. Very appropriately named.
What did he? What is enshitification?
Basically, it's. I don't know the best way to describe it other than a company comes out with a great product, but then they find many different ways to secretly convince you to pay more for something that you don't actually need to pay more for.
Oh, something kind of reminds me of a certain YouTuber that tries to convince, that still convinces his audience to watch stupid videos that aren't that necessary for tech buying purchases. Like, I don't know.
Is that YouTuber?
Maybe a certain Mr. Who's the Boss.
I'm not entirely sure, but the best example I can really think of is, you guys know what Amazon Prime is, right?
Yes.
My family used to have it, but it started to become a massive problem for us because the benefits that we used to get, like 2-day shipping or discounts on products, well, those are pretty much gone. So, what are we paying for Prime for at this point? I don't know, to be honest. So,
Wi-Fi
as a result,
Tabby's Wi-Fi is going out.
Oh, crap. What's going on with America's infrastructure at the moment? Because we've actually been having major issues up here, too. And actually, it's not Wi-Fi, it's power issues.
Well, power
Literally
and
almost
internet
having
services
major-
are two different things, but
Well,
I haven't been affected.
yep, there he goes. Oh, now he's back at it.
Tabby.
Yeah, I'm on my hotspot now because a certain network provider blows ass.
If I had to guess, Comcast?
Yeah. Better than
Yeah.
Verizon that was, though. Telling you right now, we wouldn't be able to have a single episode out if I was still on Verizon. But was that YouTuber you were talking about? Do you think he has a correlation with kangaroos and Australia?
No, he is. He is not. He is not Hugh Jeffries.
Any other hints?
I think he's referring to the British YouTuber I had mentioned who brought up the whole gentrification topic.
Yeah, I was referencing how Mr. Who's the Boss's videos have gotten so much worse. To the point where I unsubscribed from him.
Yeah, I never really loved his videos. I feel like the editing that he does, he's just so excited about everything, and I know that's good to an extent, but man, that guy is hyper.
Yeah, and this is the video of Mr. Who's the Boss that bothered me the most was. Do you guys remember his 30-minute video on the greatest surprise proposal ever?
I don't
Hey,
remember that one.
that was fun. That was fun.
That one sounds kind of cool.
I did enjoy that one. That's good for him.
Yeah, it's good.
But
It's good for him, but why? But why would you need to make a whole video on that when you can just, I don't know, experience a moment like that for yourself?
What was the video on? Was it just him proposing?
yeah, it was just him proposing to his girlfriend.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'd
like,
say,
if I-
honestly, I would say that's such a big part of his life that he would want to have that documented for, his main channel to know.
But that's just not something that it's just his personal videos like that just started to bother me a little bit because his channel is primarily a tech focused channel. And for example, would you guys like to watch a YouTube video of me proposing to my girlfriend, or would you guys rather me indirectly mention like in a channel updates video, hey, I'm engaged, so I'm going to be moving, or
I
so
would
I
be
might
happy
be
for
moving.
you. I'd say the first one. I think the first one.
Personally, I'd say the first
I'd be
one
like,
too.
dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, I wouldn't personally want to record that kind of stuff. I wouldn't personally want to record me proposing
As
to
for
my
a
girlfriend.
privacy standpoint, yeah, but
Yeah, it makes sense. Ultimately, it's your decision, but he chose that he wanted to document this whole thing, maybe to reminisce on in the future. I don't know his reasonings for it, but I'm not mad that he did it.
yeah. And
I
honestly,
actually
I
kind
don't
of
think
enjoyed
it's-
watching the whole proposal unfold.
I might check that video out because if I know anything about YouTube, that video probably bombed in views. That was probably a least viewed video out of the last 10 videos. Just because of how the
What
algorithm
really drove
treats
me
you.
away from Mr. Who's the Boss was when he started making these. I bought every PlayStation in the world, or something of that. To me, like,
Oh my
I'm
God.
sorry.
Like, or his stupid. The final straw that drove me away from Mr. Who's the Boss was to the point when he was just doing stupid stuff, like just making everything based off of Temu tech and whatnot. And I'm sorry, but I know
I hate
I'm
money
smart enough.
flexing.
I don't hate his
Yeah,
channel.
and
I
it's
just I don't really follow those types of channels, but I think he makes good videos, but it's just not my type of videos, I think
Yeah.
he's a good guy. He looks
For
like
me,
a good
what
guy,
I just didn't like how it's kind of started to become a little more money flexing instead of actual focusing on content and education, and that's why I ended up leaving. That's why I left
think,
Everything Apple Pro. Remember that guy?
Oh yeah, yeah. When will he
actually-
one?
I was a huge fan of that guy. Still would be if he uploaded.
Yeah. Yeah, he in 20. It was true. It wasn't until 2020 that his videos started getting bad, as he was good. He was really good in the 2010s, and then he just fell off.
His so I think he's making more money off his phone cases now than his YouTube channel, so I think he's kind of focusing on that. He's a cool dude,
which is
though.
great for him, but that's
remember
not
his old
exactly why people
videos.
came to. It
Yeah.
came for which is not exactly, but that's not the reason that people came to his channel.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that a lot of people do just buy his cases now, not even related to the YouTube channel. They just buy his cases. But
Yeah.
one thing I will say, that guy actually seemed like a cool dude off camera. I know in a lot of his older videos he had like BMWs and he had a lot of Audi S4s, stuff like that, maybe S5s.
He showed. Oh, he has chickens. I always like to see him when he featured his black cat in
Oh,
his
yeah, the
videos,
black cat.
and when he featured his chickens.
Yeah, the black cat and the chickens were cool. That stuff
I'm
was
surprised.
really cool.
I wonder what he had to do to keep his cat and his chickens separated. Now that I
I
think
don't know,
about it.
maybe his cat was just declawed or something.
They could still use teeth though.
That's horrible for them.
Yeah, I wouldn't declaw a cat personally, but
Neither would I.
I mean, if they get outside and they're dealing with some weird stuff. Yeah.
But yeah, I stopped following that guy because it became less and less about Apple content or tech content, and it started shifting a lot towards money flexing.
Some of the stuff
And
I noticed with his
I don't enjoy
channel,
that.
some of the stuff I noticed with his channel that I actually kind of liked, I don't think this was really money flexing. I think this was just him putting a lot of money into his content. He would take all
Yeah.
these iPhones and he would do actual case durability tests. Those durability
Yeah.
tests were good. Like, they would actually...
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, like I think he was doing a lot. Yeah, I don't necessarily think he was money flexing like Mr. Who's the Boss.
What I did not
And-
like, though, was all of his, like, weird iPhone 2G on iOS 1 versus iPhone 7 on iOS 10 comparisons. I'm like...
I loved those videos. That's why I did that comparison. That's why I made my own, but when I had my iPhone 2G and my iPhone 14 Pro back when that was the latest.
It was cool the first time that I saw it, but then I saw every YouTuber, iPhone 2G versus iPhone 10, iPhone 2G versus iPhone 10R, iPhone 2G versus 10s, 2G versus 11, 11 Pro, 11 Pro Max, 12, 13, 14.
It gets
Doesn't seem
old.
like anyone's done it to the 15 yet, but Hugh Jeffries did his own video on that. iPhone 2G
Oh, yeah, he
versus
did.
iPhone 14 Pro. Or was it the 14 Pro or the 13 or 12? What was it?
13 Pro, I think.
Whatever it was just got miserable to see
Oh,
all that
and
content. I'm like, who cares?
I guess it's cool to just see how the iPhone evolved over time, but but there are some things that a lot of big tech YouTubers do that when one big tech YouTuber does, it basically becomes normal.
Yeah, I mean, the videos were cool. I'm not gonna say they weren't. It was just, I feel like when you have 50 different channels putting out the same video, in the same, month, you kind of get a little annoyed seeing iPhone from below 2015 versus iPhone 14 speed test.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anywho,
I guess we should move on to our next topic. I guess we should move on to our next topic, which is the new iPad Air.
Yeah, what do you guys think about the new Air?
I don't think I care.
Huh?
I don't think I care.
Didn't you want a 12.9-inch iPad Air though?
Well, then I came to another realization.
You don't need an iPad.
No, M1. Well, I'd like one for the few edge cases. I ended up getting one anyways, but M1 iPad Pro is currently on certified refurbish for what's the price? $760.
Yeah, but the M1 iPad Pro refurbish is only temporary.
What do you mean?
Most of the time, they will have these refurbished iPads up for a long time.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still gonna be a 3-year-old. But it's still a 3-year-old iPad.
Like I care?
I would
iPads
say
from how many
that.
years ago can do the same thing as iPads today? All because of iPadOS. Like I care about the age of the iPad at this point.
You should
One thing
care.
I will say. One thing I will
I bought
say,
my
though.
iPhone XS Max. Where is it? I don't. Darn it! Where did I put the thing? I don't know. But I bought my iPhone XS Max when it was a year old, a year and a half old.
No, you bought when it was almost.
You think I
2.
care?
No, because you seem to not care. No, because how do I say?
Here it is. I bought this when it was just over a year and a half old. The iPhone 11 was out, and I bought this in the summer. You think I care about the age of my device when I buy it?
I do, but you don't.
Yeah. So, then the other reasons why I'm thinking more iPad Pro M1 instead of the iPad Air 2. Mini LED, better display than whatever LCD that I'm pretty sure it's still.
Hold on, the
regular.
M1 had. Oh yeah, the M1
LCD.
did have mini LED. You're right.
Yep.
Oh,
Here's another big one. Here's another big one.
Face ID.
I have eczema. Fingerprint scanners are a pain on this thing.
Yep,
I'd love to have Face ID on that.
Yep, go with the Pro.
It just makes more sense. The mini LED panel, the cheaper price, and the Face ID. And also support for this.
What you could do is you could try and trade in your iPad Air and get the Pro.
I'd have to sell it, but because I've looked at Apple's trade-in value, and they're only going to give me like $300 for it.
Apple's trade-in values are way too low.
Yeah, they're just bad.
I had an 11-inch Pro that I was gonna trade into Apple for $375 yesterday. It was a 11-inch Pro 2021 M1 cellular. I decided to. My buddy Elias wanted it, so I just sold it to him for the same price I was gonna trade it in for. So it's like if he was gonna give me the same price, I don't care.
Yeah, I was thinking of maybe selling my iPad Air for the same $500 I paid for it, because it's still in really good condition, actually.
No,
You could get it.
Oh no
if you
no
could
no
get
no
it
no
for
no no no! I do not. That $500 is price gouging. You need to. It's gonna have to. 400.
I mean, if you
I
can
looked
get
at the market.
500,
It's not that bad.
you can get.
No, it
500,
is that bad.
do 500.
500 is that bad. You need to. You got. I've looked on eBay. You have to go at least 450 at max.
I'll add the folio case because that will be of no use to me.
Yeah, you won't. Yeah, I mean, with the folio case, okay, that might add an additional.
The folio case is like somewhere between. I think it's around $100, but no.
50.
It's like 80.
How much is it?
50.
It's like $80 new. Oh, it's 50?
Yeah.
I thought it was 80.
Yeah, it's. I'd
From
price
the
that for
Apple
400. I'd price that for $430 if I was you.
I would list it for $4.99 for a week, then go down to $4.49.
Oh no!
I'd start high and work my way down if it doesn't sell. Just meet wherever
No!
people
Do
are
not start. Do not start high. You don't want to become. You don't want to wind up like Craddy 34.
I mean,
I'm
what's
not a
the harm?
professional seller though. Where's cases?
I think that Craddy 34 is kind of taking advantage of. See, I don't really mind when people sell stuff a little high when it's reasonable. The thing that I kind of have an issue with is when people try and, not just Craddy 34, he seems like a decent guy, you know, but I have an issue when people...
$80.
I have an issue when people go and sell, like, rare stuff. You know, pretty much just snipe the rare stuff and sell that for, like, 3 times more than what they paid for it. It's like, why even buy it if you're just...
Yeah, that always irritates. That always irritates. That's
Yeah,
so
that's
unethical
not good.
because there was... On my video that I made about rambling on Craddy 34's eBay, I actually got... I got a comment saying that somebody actually lost an eBay auction to that guy, and that'd be so tragic to find out because then you know he was just gonna sell it for more money.
Just be annoying.
Yeah.
Well, he seems like a nice guy, it's just... One of my friends knows him personally. So... And I've heard good things about him. I've always kind of fallen under, if you don't buy it to resell it really, you know, if you are a collector and you just, you know, are trying to get rid of your collection, just sell it for high to prevent people. Just cut out the middleman, sell it high yourself. Don't sell it, you know, for half the price you could get for it, because then somebody's going to buy it and resell it for double the money. You know?
Yeah, that's the exact point. Sell everything for what it's worth in the first place, so that way people won't try to. So that way people aren't gonna, because people that see it's lower are probably just gonna sell it for more, probably gonna buy it and then sell it for way more money, and you'll lose out.
Yeah.
And how would selling this for $500 be price gouging when I paid $500 for the tablet to begin with?
Because its value has depreciated.
Well, yeah, but it was on sale.
Its original value was $600.
Its value has still depreciated from $500 though.
But it's not like he's trying to sell it for like $700 or more than he paid for. You know, he's
He's not trying.
He's only selling it for like $50 above market value. And his is his is a good example of one because his is in great condition. All the used ones are probably
Yeah, it's in really good condition.
All the used ones are probably gonna be
I'm
It
scraped.
sorry,
comes with
but
a case.
That's
Has
still
AppleCare
that's
too,
not
doesn't
what.
Yeah, so
Okay,
I think
AppleCare.
500 is a good place to start.
Maybe I would say maybe 470, maybe that, but no, but 500 is. I would still price that at 430 even without, or I would still price that at 400 without 400 and just sell everything else with it for really cheap for cheaper since
Well, yeah,
people
you
are just
don't
gonna
want
look at
to
the
flush
starting
his money.
price.
How does
Still
this
don't do.
sound? How does this sound? $500 free shipping.
No.
What about 500?
I would sell it for
euros?
400. I would sell it for 400 anyway, because people aren't gonna look at the descriptions of every item and know what Apple Care Plus is and how special a folio case is. Like, they're just gonna look at the prices and they won't buy. If you're just trying to get rid of stuff and get money fast, then
If it's worth big money and somebody sees it being sold for big money, they're gonna be like, "Damn, there's got to be a reason this dude's selling this thing for higher than market value, they're gonna look and they're gonna be like, oh damn, this dude's selling something that's worth big money. I'm gonna buy this thing for big money, or I'm gonna offer a little.
Well, that might be more fair. Okay. That might be more fair, but speaking of...
And also, you also gotta realize, most people will start offering like 20, 30 bucks less. So if he sells it, or if he starts at $4.99, and then he gets offers big money, you know?
That's actually true. But getting back on topic, I personally like the new iPad Airs. I think it's an okay iPad, but at this point, I can safely say that I'm just gonna wait until the iPad Mini gets refreshed to buy a new iPad, or else for an iPad 11.
They did something with every iPad except the iPad Mini.
Apple doesn't like the iPad Mini.
Clearly, they don't, and that's a shame because the iPad Mini really is an awesome tablet. It's just it needs a little breath of renewal at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, but getting back on topic, you want to know what iPad is finally getting the love it deserves, to the point where it started out as not great, but it's turned into a pretty great tablet now.
Now the iPad 10 is recommendable.
They reduced the price to $350.
Oh, you're right. That is
now
cool.
It's a recommendable tablet.
It was a good tablet before. It's a good tablet now. It's a decent price before. It's a decent price now. It's a better price now.
Yeah. And there's one
thing.
Yeah, I think the iPad 10th generation got too much hate.
It was $50 cheaper than a better iPad.
Yeah, I mean, it did.
Not everybody wants a smaller screen size, though.
But smaller screen aside, just comparing the feature set, the iPad Mini was better in so many different ways.
And what?
But also, you can't.
$50
What's your motto for?
Though.
And what is your motto for screen sizes, Alpha?
That's my motto, not necessarily everybody else's.
Everybody,
if everyone abided by my motto, then nobody would have bought the iPhone Mini.
I think another thing you got to realize, the iPad 10 supports the keyboard cases, or at least a keyboard case. I think in most ways I would recommend the iPad Mini to a lot of people, but if someone's looking at the iPad 10, I think they're kind of away from the mindset that the mini iPad would even be an option just due to the size alone, because people that buy the iPad 10 probably spent a lot on their iPhones. They probably have a Pro Max, so they probably have to, budget in for the iPad if they want an iPad, and they're like, okay, I gotta spend a little less on the iPad than I did on my phone. Not everyone did that, but I know a dude, one of my best friends, he's just got the iPad 10 SE 3, Apple Watch SE. He's just saving some money and getting the cheapest new products he can, but a lot of people I've also seen just go for whatever setup they can get with what they have. And I would still recommend an iPad 10 over an iPad 9 any day.
Yeah, so would I. And even from Apple Maniac YT actually just bought an iPad 10th generation, and he was a former TIFP guest.
I remember the Maniac.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was a cool
And
dude.
another point that I forgot to, speaking of iPad keyboards, another thing I forgot to mention with the new iPad Pro keyboard is, Tabby, does it actually feel good to type in your lap? Like, does it feel solid?
It feels pretty good. It feels a lot like a MacBook keyboard.
That's good, because my big issue with my iPad Air 5's current keyboard, which is why I really underuse this, which is why I'm more convinced by a Mini now, is, like, this is not comfortable to use as a laptop. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have that
it's not
issue.
a laptop.
Because the new iPads are so light on the top, the iPad
Or it's not
itself is
comfortable to
very
type
light.
on it like a laptop.
Yeah, your issue there is just the fact that it's so top heavy, but they fixed that. the entire issue is not an issue anymore, because they made it, bottom heavy again, or they made it bottom heavy for
Yeah,
once, which is good.
as as I'm afraid that Apple seems to have trouble understanding physics, but it's
It's
harder
something.
to keep it's hard to keep higher it's higher to keep heavier object it's best to keep heavier objects down lower and the lighter objects up top, because it's harder to keep the heavier objects on top and then the lighter objects down on the bottom. That's just not that easy.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I still wouldn't get that keyboard case at all because I don't think a physical keyboard is supposed to be part of the tablet. If you want a physical keyboard with your tablet, buy a laptop. It's just better.
Yeah, I prefer. Yeah, that's why for my next iPad will not have a physical keyboard.
Yeah, I mean, the iPad Mini is a
I-
very fair and balanced laptop. Or not laptop, tablet.
Yeah, my issue is I've tried turning tablets into a sort of laptop replacement before, be it iPads and Android tablets, but it's just there's a reason why we still use laptops in their form factor today, and we don't try turning laptops into tablets that much, and vice versa. The reason why we still use these products separately is because their physical form factors are just better. Laptop form factor is great with the keyboard and the trackpad right there. It's balanced. The majority of the computer stuff is in that base, meaning all the weight is perfectly balanced. And for an iPad, well, you have this. It just with all the computer electronics up here. I mean, yes, the iPad Pros improve upon this, but still, you got a lot of weight up here still, to the point where now if you want to add a keyboard accessory to it, well, now you got to make that keyboard, if you want it to be as balanced as a laptop, you have to add more weight to the keyboard, and therefore you're adding more weight to an overall device that just doesn't need it. At that point, it just feels bloated to me.
Yeah, you explained that really well in your video 5 years ago on why tablets didn't make terrible laptops.
Yeah. Yeah, I've tried for years, and I hate it when people continue to insist upon the idea of the tablet replacing the laptop by, stick a keyboard and a trackpad to it. No, that's not how it works. I've done it how many times now, and I've come to the exact same conclusion. It's just a janky setup. Every single time.
Believe it or not, I actually used to have believe it or not, my opinion was actually very different from yours back in 2021, as I made a video back in early 2021 about why iPads can replace your laptop. But at the time, how I primarily used my iPad to replace my laptop this was back before I was doing heavy editing on my YouTube videos, and back when most of my videos weren't even edited, and so I was just using my iPad primarily for schoolwork. And it worked, and I was using my iPad 7th generation at the time on a desk, and it worked just fine.
Yeah. The thing is, in some instances, an iPad could replace your laptop, but the way you do it, it's not like the way Apple is suggesting, where you add a keyboard with mouse support or something like that. That's not how you do it.
Yeah,
the way it does it is through software.
That's the way I do. That's how I get my iPad to replace my laptop, is by just using the software, like just using iPadOS to do a lot of the heavy work of my laptop, like software, like web browsing. Mm-hmm. And believe it or not, whenever I type documents on my iPad, especially my video scripts, I hardly ever use the physical keyboard for that.
Yeah, there are advantages to iPad's on-screen keyboard, but I found, especially when it comes to typing, if you're going to do a lot of typing and you care about the typing experience on the go, then just get the laptop.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I have a MacBook.
It just
Because I
makes
do
more
care
sense
about my
because the
MacBook
keyboard
typing
is not designed to be as thin and light and cheaply feeling as possible because it has to fit in this very cheap accessory unless you're buying one of Apple's keyboards because
Yes,
well,
the
you know,
Apple's
yeah.
keyboard that at this point costs. Let me look up the new iPad Pro keyboard price actually.
It's $300 for the 11-inch and $350 for the 13-inch.
$350 for the 13-inch. So
Yes.
you're telling me that you can buy an iPad for the price of an iPad keyboard?
Yes.
What? That's
Isn't
so
this dumb?
stupid. That is stupid.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, this baffles me so much that people will spend like what's the base price of a 13-inch iPad? $1,300 now, I think.
Let me.
Is it $1,200 or $1,300?
Let me check.
I don't recall.
Yeah, I gotta let this load. Yeah, $1,300.
Yeah, so starting $1,300 for the base iPad Pro, the 13-inch, because if you're going to replace your laptop, you want to have a screen size similar to it, right? Then you have to pay an extra $350 on top of that, so now you're spending $1,600
Or no,
plus
1,650 bucks.
on a base level iPad to get a MacBook replacement like experience.
You know what you can buy? You know what you can buy for 16 for less than that?
For $1,000, mind you.
A MacBook.
And you're going to have a much better experience. You're going to have a keyboard that is more optimized for actually being a highly used keyboard. You're going to have a much larger trackpad as well, by the way. You're going to have better speakers and literally everything when it comes to turning your iPad into a laptop hardware-wise. It all ultimately becomes an expensive, janky setup. And this is the number one thing about the iPad Pro that everyone tries to tell me. It can replace your laptop if you use a keyboard. No, it can't. And ultimately, it is bad when you try to do that. You're paying more money for a worse experience.
So I use both my MacBook, or well, a Mac, and my iPad pretty much every day. The iPad, it's like a sub-laptop, you know? If you have a MacBook, you should buy an iPad. If you don't have a MacBook, you shouldn't buy an iPad. It should go along the MacBook, not be a replacement to the MacBook. You know? It just...
Yeah, a Mac.
It doesn't make sense how some people do
The
it.
initial purpose of an iPad was to be a cross between a smartphone and a laptop.
Yeah, exactly.
And the budget iPads are amazing at that. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, and in fact, I
Yeah,
think
it is.
that. In fact, I honestly wish that Apple would just get rid of the. In my ideal iPad lineup, what I would do is I would just have. I honestly think that if I was the head of the iPad team, I would just have one. There would just be one iPad. And I would update with the latest iPhone processor every year if I was the head of Apple. Just one iPad every year. If you want a cheaper model, just buy an older one. But I wouldn't. But I'm not even sure if I would include a keyboard. Offer a keyboard option for it, but offer an Apple Pencil for those who want it.
I think the keyboard makes sense if you're using it properly, but if you're using the keyboard in a weird way, it's not going to work. You know, there's so many things that
Yeah.
Safari mobile Safari just straight up can't do. You know, and that's the issue.
Well, iPads have
the
desktop
issue-
browsing now.
I've still seeing a lot of websites treat Safari as if it is a phone. So,
Tabby, your voice is breaking up.
damn it.
Is your Wi-Fi back, or are you? Is it still completely out?
Ah, man.
I can still hear you, by the way. It's just I'm wondering if your Wi-Fi's come back yet.
Yeah, it's cool.
And did we just
Discord
lose it
actually
now?
lets you. It's cool. How Discord lets you know the bandwidth, and it's allegedly full bandwidth. Tabby.
I think you just got cut out.
All right, I guess I'll have to wait before we move on to our next topic,
Yeah.
in which we probably won't get to all of them today.
No, definitely not.
But that's honestly okay
But-
because
I mean, I mostly wanted to talk about the iPads anyways because we missed that whole event, and
same.
so. But
That's really all that matters.
yeah, I mean, if I had to come up with if I was in charge of the iPad line, oh,
Is it better now? Can you hear me?
yep, I can hear
Yes.
I hate network providers.
you. Hey,
What
you should try
happened?
mine up here. They're amazing. Not.
Yeah. Don't
Well,
understand.
hey, well,
how
you're
they
having
can be-
internet issues. The place where I work is having power issues. So,
I don't understand how these providers can be going and servicing such a wide range of people in my area and still not have the correct infrastructure to handle it.
I know this is.
hey, everyone, 5G's the future, right?
If 5G is the future, then I should be able to get 5G hotspot in my basement.
Yeah, and more
Precisely.
importantly, I should. But you want to know what the future truly is?
What?
It'd be nice if we could possibly find some. It'd be nice if we could possibly have generate the infrastructure. It'd be nice if we could possibly generate the internet infrastructure in our own on one of our own devices, or at least in a device that an electronic that we can buy. So that way we don't have to worry about dealing with external infrastructure anymore.
Would be cool.
AT&T actually offers something like that, but it's very limited. But it's a little limited.
What is it?
I don't even know how that works because the way the internet works is so many devices working with each other on an infrastructure.
How it works?
What
So
ISPs
it's,
do is just connect us to that infrastructure.
what AT&T does is they basically have they basically use cell tower. AT&T has a way of mimicking their cell towers in a suitcase. That way you can get cell service if you absolutely need it in really remote areas. Or at least they had that.
How do you think we get our internet out here?
Cell towers.
Yeah. So,
Because you live in the lovely state of Michigan.
gosh, I hate it here so much. Get me out of this hellscape.
Not good. Maybe.
Huh?
Probably not good.
We've rambled a lot about Michigan on this podcast, so how about we move on from rambling about Michigan to rambling about how stupid the controversy behind the latest iPad ad is.
Yeah,
What controversy is it?
do you remember the Crush ad?
Yeah.
Where Apple takes a hydraulic press and crushes all sorts of creative paints and instruments, and my favorite thing was the face.
Yes.
I can't believe Apple has actually created the perfect representation, the perfect art piece to demonstrate what they do to the iPad Pro community. That smiley face, that's the iPad Pro community and their dreams. And the hydraulic press is crushing that. So representative of what they're actually doing to the iPad Pro community. I got a laugh out of that. It started off with celebrities, creative celebrities, getting mad and upset about the destruction of tools and instruments. And when celebrities get involved, that's when big media gets involved, and that's when everyone else gets involved.
Yeah, because even though this whole controversy is just way too stupid, because really, I mean, technically, old obsolete equipment, like a lot of old obsolete equipment does get replaced with new stuff. Like, you gotta, I hate to admit this, but electronic instruments and just using GarageBand has basically taken over using real instruments.
I'd argue otherwise.
It has in the majority of the music industry.
Not all of it.
Yeah, not all. I meant amongst bigger artists, not among smaller artists like Alpha.
Yeah, I mean, pop stuff is mostly digital. It's
yeah.
That's what I was fake music, to be honest.
Yes. Yeah, I hate pop music too.
Yeah, pop, I can understand. Yeah, they shouldn't be offended by this at all because all their music's basically generated by a machine. But yeah, for artists, especially like me, I did get a little crushing feeling myself when I watched the piano and the trumpet and the other musical instruments like that get crushed because, well, you know me, I'm a musician. And I did not like watching the destruction of those instruments because something about me, I don't like being wasteful.
Yeah, I don't either, but I feel like...
No one does. Or at least I don't.
And even if something's broken, I'd rather fix it than just toss it.
I have a theory about this ad. I think that ad was entirely AI generated.
No, that's not AI.
I think the entire event had a lot of AI generated segments because looking at how some people act in that, event, it really didn't feel natural. It felt closer to, AI generated stuff than it did to actually being, live created. At least I saw that throughout the entire event. That's just my theory there. And I think that ad, something about that ad, it does not look like it was filmed with Apple's normal equipment. It looked more like it was filmed, well, it looked more generated. Apple's equipment does not do that kind of weird effect that it had on the, yellows of that ad. But what I will say, if it's not AI generated, which I could be wrong, there's a good possibility I'm wrong. I probably am not right there. But I will say, all that stuff is probably decommissioned stuff. Probably either broken or, if anything, prop shells. I wouldn't doubt if it's just a bunch of props.
That is true.
That's just what I think about it, though, personally.
I mean, they have to. I mean, we know that Hollywood uses. We know that they use a lot of props for stuff like that because if you think about, because for example, if there's ever a scene in a movie and TV show when they show an animal being harmed, they have to use clever props so that way they don't actually harm animals.
That's impossible.
Huh?
The way this trumpet bends, that's impossible. just by looking at how that thing is being compressed.
Yeah, the whole entire ad to me just felt off.
Well, the event people, especially, they could be AI generated, as I believe South Korea, their newscaster, she actually got replaced by an AI generated person, or an
That's
AI
stupid.
generated deep fake to report the news.
That's stupid.
Yeah, that was back in 2021, so
Wow.
still.
That was a minute or two ago.
Yeah, again, just goes to show you how AI is really overrated, and it's not special.
I don't think it's, like, overrated. I just think it's, like, kind of screwed up.
Yes, and Apple executives using it to if they really are using AI to fake the fake Apple executives at the event, that's just not cool. And I mean, that might actually make sense if you think about it, because when do they ever hold events at 7 a.m. Pacific time?
That was annoying.
Yeah, because
Just
they would
having
have
deal
to.
with that.
Because you think about it, if that was a lot, that might make sense, since if they held it at 7 a.m. Pacific time, mind you, they have to get up probably several hours earlier than that, versus if they held it at 10 a.m. when they probably don't have to get up all too terribly early. But
But all they have to do is just stream the recording. It's a pre-recorded event. All they have to do is just basically set up the stream and push play.
Actually, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a bit of an interesting time. Like, huh. Well, I personally don't. Getting back onto my thoughts on the iPad ad controversy, I think that is a bit blown out of proportion, but that's just me. And do you have anything more to say about this?
I don't think so.
Yeah, for the most part, I get what Apple's message with what that is supposed to be. It's supposed to be, look at all the things here, and it can all be smushed into this super thin iPad. I get what they were trying to display. It's just
So do I.
a big problem when it comes to art, and it can be for better or for worse. Not only is the creator the one who's deciding the interpretation, the viewer also can interpret it as well. And in this case, many viewers did not, their interpretation was not as positive as the creator.
Yeah, it's just people simply not liking art quite as much, because, for example, let's take writing as a form of art. Like, you guys know the play Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare, right?
I've played it
know of
myself,
it.
actually.
I don't remember it.
Well,
I think I was the friar.
Anywho, getting back on us, it's one of William Shakespeare's best known plays, and it's a famous love story of bypassing your strict family members for love. Like, that's kind of what I got. That's kind of what, like, it was really it's just kind of overhyped. But then when I actually had to watch the movie in English class, I just did not think that. Once I actually saw it, I just was not impressed.
Oh, here's another really good example that I could bring up. The Sistine Chapel.
What's that?
You're not aware of what's painted on the ceiling?
Huh?
It's a bunch of paintings of people.
Ew! Maybe we should. How about we move on from the subject of the Sistine Chapel? This episode is already explicit as is.
It's a good example, though, isn't it? On one hand, to some people, it's art. To others, it is very disturbing.
Yes, I can understand. Yes, I can. There's a piece of art by Michelangelo that was also that I don't remember the name of it, but I know it can be just disturbing. And here's another good example. Leonardo da Vinci's The Vitruvian Man.
Yeah, I was not a fan of that one, to be honest.
Yeah, that's...
And yet, to some people, they like it. And to the artist, they like it.
Well,
But
obviously...
that's the number one thing that is especially the case with this ad as well. There is a difference between the perspective of the creator and the perspective of the viewer. There is a difference, and each actually does have their own rights towards how they feel about the piece.
All right. Are we ready to move on? Talk about the Beats Solo 4.
I don't know what to talk about in terms of that department.
I'd say
to be
yes.
honest.
So the Beats Solo 3, which have been out for several years, and in fact I have a pair of Beats Solo 3 that I initially got, but they hurt my head, so I no longer use them. Where are my Beats Solo? Oh yeah, these. Here they are. These are my somehow really dirty Beats Solo 3, and they finally updated these. Even though Apple's been notably ignoring the Beats brand for quite a while now, because they bought Beats.
Essentially, in my opinion, Beats is budget AirPods.
Yeah, Beats is.
Essentially.
Beats aren't bad. Beats doesn't make bad stuff, but I just think they've been
They're
overshadowed
okay.
by AirPods.
Some of the stuff is okay. I mean, I have the Beats Solo Pros, I think they're called, and they're okay.
The Beats what? The Beats Studio Pros?
I think
Solo Pros.
whatever it is, the ones with USB-C, the new ones.
I have no idea. To be honest, I really have paid zero attention to Beats lineup. I know, coming from an audiophile, I don't care about Beats lineup because I'm more on the high-end stuff when it comes to audio.
Yeah, and I just like using my AirPods.
Yeah, I got the Beats Studio Pros or whatever, just because it was a kind of cheap gift that I was able to get, and they were like $150. I was like, okay, this is probably worth it for what it is, because I didn't want to spend too much on a pair of Sennheisers or something like that.
Yeah,
I wish Apple would update their AirPods Max already.
Oh, so same.
My headband is worn out, by the way. I'm literally touching metal bars.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah, I used these things a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Surprised they haven't
that
gone out
headband
yet.
has definitely got its. Yeah, they still sound amazing, to be honest. They still sound better than anything I've heard of in its price range.
Surprising.
So, yeah, I love my AirPods Max so much to the point where I'm still using them despite that the headband is worn out and I'm now touching metal bars on my head. You don't want to smell them, by the way. The cushions are still the original. You do not want to smell them.
Yeah, those
That's good to know.
Those smell odd.
Yeah. Yeah, they developed... Something that I did not expect was they were actually going to develop a smell after a period of time, and they definitely have. I need to find some cleaning solution or something, because I'm sure all I need to do is just clean them, and then the smell goes away. But...
Wouldn't
Yeah.
doubt it.
I use these things a lot, so I'm so impatiently waiting for them to update it. Because you'd think they have to do it at some point this year because of USB-C.
Unless they're going to discontinue the whole thing.
Yeah.
I hope not, because dang, I love these things so much.
I would
Then again,
consider
they
buying
just-
a second-gen pair, maybe.
I personally
I
prefer
use
this
these a
compact
ton.
size of AirPods Pro, so That's why I don't buy the Max ones, but that's just me.
Oh, did I give you this update on my AirPods Pro?
What? Oh, let me guess. Active noise cancellation and transparency went out again.
Yeah, so
I'll be right back. I'm getting a phone call.
Oh, dang it! I wanted Tabby to hear this.
Sorry. Go on to a different topic. Tell me after this. I gotta take this phone. I'll be right back.
All right.
Okay. Apple is, and another news, switching to another topic briefly, is that Apple is easing their third-party app store policy. Not good.
Dang it, this is just terrible news no matter how you look at it.
Yep. We've gone to some plenty of other episodes, so...
I know.
How about we move on to the next topic that doesn't involve Tabby, being the Google Pixel AA.
I've done no research on it. That's because I've been primarily focusing on my 6 Pro, which the review of that was literally just posted minutes before we went live.
Yeah, the Pixel AA, it is a budget version of the Pixel 8 that retails for, it advertises it's Google AI, but it's $500, which is a pretty good deal. And it seems like a pretty good phone overall.
Yeah, Pixel's A series has always been decent. I've never liked the material choice that they've chosen for their past versions. But their budget phones are fairly decent. I don't primarily focus on the budget space. Yeah.
Yeah, they feel much more modern than... Hang on, let me grab it.
The SE, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do feel more modern than the iPhone SE.
Yeah, they feel more... I'm sorry, but the reason why the iPhone SE doesn't sell is because it looks like an iPhone 6 to most people. And most people know the iPhone 6 is old. They don't know that's 10 years, it's going to be 10 this year. But they know
the iPhone SE's design has no place in this lineup whatsoever.
No.
Oh, no, it doesn't.
I don't
It's run
care.
its course.
I'm going to say this. This is something I don't care how many people I piss off. There is no use for a phone that has the same design as it had in 2014. Basically no upgrades, except for a spec bump, display upgrade, camera upgrade. Makes no sense why this phone still exists. The SE3
if you ask me, this design is currently on
exist.
life support at the moment.
Yeah, the SE2 should have been a 10R. The SE3 should have been a 12 mini. There's no reason why they should have done this. Because I don't care, people still like the design. I don't care.
No, they don't. And
Look, there's some things.
And you know what makes the SE3 look worse?
What?
The iPhone 10, which is, mind you, an officially obsolete smartphone, looks newer than the SE to most people.
You know what's funny to me? People will say, oh, well, what about the people who like the SE's design still? They're used to it. I don't care. There's some things you gotta get used to. And look, the SE works. But come on, it's screwing up the lineup. It's a flawed phone. The design is just... The battery life on that thing lasts nothing. I know I say it doesn't matter, but when the battery life on that phone, on iOS 15, it lasted fine for me. On 16, 17, coming up on 18, I don't know. Seeing as the 13 Pro... Yeah, seeing as the 13 Pro took a massive dip on iOS 16, what's the SE3 gonna be like? I haven't had one. I'm planning on probably buying one for review, if I can get a good price on one. Gotta be brand new though. I'm not buying one of those things used. It's just come on. Those things are not $300. They're $420, right? $430.
Yeah, I paid
$280.
Just FYI, I paid $280 for my used iPhone SE3 back in March of 2023. That's how bad of a phone it is. When it was only one, it was basically it was an almost new iPhone that I got for that cheap.
Yeah, the fact
if you want to talk about tech that you shouldn't buy because of age, that would be it. And that's because its design just doesn't actually hold up to today's standards.
Yeah.
That is a device not worth buying purely because of its design's age.
I mean, even my
Yeah.
grandmother doesn't like. Even my grandmother wouldn't buy an iPhone SE.
I don't know who is buying the SE. You know,
Basically,
besides
just parents
people,
who are looking for the cheapest phone for their
Teenagers.
teenagers.
Yeah, my buddy has an SE3. He likes it, but he still says it's a downgrade from his 11, and he had no choice but to get rid of that 11. It had logic board issues, so
Yeah,
that's
he
and
said.
unfortunate.
he didn't pick the SE3. It was bought for him, so he really had no choice in that. He just came
Yeah, a
home
lot
from
of
school
my
one day and, hey man, here's your new phone, and the 11 got traded in AT&T.
Yeah, a lot of my classmates, at least from what I can tell, a lot of them most of them seem to use hand-me-downs from their parents, or else sometimes they get iPhone 15s, 14s, 13s, and such, but oftentimes they just get hand-me-downs from their parents, even kids just often don't even use the SE, though I still see a bunch of kids at my school with the SE, with SEs.
Yeah.
And one of my friends actually last or in early 2023, he upgraded from his SE, I don't know which generation SE, to an iPhone 13, which wasn't the latest iPhone at the time.
An iPhone SE3, in my mind, is under the iPhone 12.
Oh, it doesn't. The SE3, I believe, remember the Apple Music Sing feature?
Yeah.
The iPhone SE2 didn't even get that.
SE2?
Yeah. Which has the same chip as the iPhone 11 series, mind you.
Did the 11 series get it?
Yeah, it did. I believe.
Why didn't the SE?
I don't know.
It's probably overheating or battery, because that feature drains battery. I don't know why
Yeah,
Apple
it
would
does.
just not let users choose. That is annoying, but whatever.
Yeah, it's a bad
Yeah,
feature.
that phone's basically on life support. Anywho, the AirPods thing before Tabby was interrupted by a phone call. So, the update on my AirPods was I accidentally threw my AirPods Pro into the wash with my jeans.
Oh.
So they got a bit of a cleaning.
Oh,
and believe it or not, I'm so shocked by this. I thought that would have broken them. It actually fixed my noise
I
cancellation
forgot.
and transparency issues.
Probably because it cleaned them.
Wow.
That's
That's
so now I don't need to consider getting new AirPods anymore because my AirPods Pro work now perfectly fine.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom put her iPhone 13 Pro Max in the washing in the washing machine a year or so ago, and it now constantly overheats. And
I think that might be an iPhone 13 Pro Max issue, because those phones
yeah, my dad
are
has the same issue with
older
his
now.
13.
Yeah, I
Pro,
even have
and
that
when
issue
we
with
see-
my 13 Pro Max.
That might just be okay, so 13 Pro Max is fine, but I'm guessing
Yeah.
but at least Alpha's AirPods didn't get the same level of cleaning treatment that my grandfather's old flip phone did.
Oh dear.
You can guess what happened to that.
I guess even
thing
the
go to the
insides of the device got cleaned?
Yes, they got cleaned to the point where they got cleaned of the components that made the phone work got cleaned out.
Oh,
Well, that seems like a Smash Tech setup.
Yeah, dude, I am so shocked my AirPods, well, let alone survived the wash. So I'm surprised they even survived that, but the fact I got transparency and noise cancellation back, that's so sweet. Now I get to
Yeah.
save $250 for another day.
That
It's
you'll need.
surprising.
That'll be nice for your. That's more money to go to your Tesla.
Yeah, that got sold, unfortunately.
I meant the Tesla that you want to buy someday.
Oh, yeah, that one. Oh. Yeah, for context, I found a used Tesla Model 3 for a very good price. It's just I was getting bad insurance quotes at the moment. And then by the time I got down to the insurance office today, after they closed.
Ah.
I cannot get to them when they're open. And they advertise their hours. Their advertising is false. They're not open when they say they are.
That's stupid.
That's fraud.
So it's so frustrating, but now it doesn't even matter because the car that I was looking at, it's sold now. That, and we finally have an answer as of what's really going on with Stardust. It's just gaskets missing. Literally, they're I don't know if I told Tabby this, but there's no gaskets around my harness.
Factory messed up.
Yeah, the factory messed up when they built the car, and they forgot to put on a few gaskets around the wiring harness. That got corroded, and that's why the ECU is struggling to communicate with a few items. Hence, the constant check engine light on and off. So,
it's annoying.
Finally getting somewhere with this. I just hope that this is the last time I have to take it in, because once again, I currently have a loaner car. Funny enough, the exact same one that I filmed for the Drive channel. And I've grown a little used to driving that thing. In fact, I can appreciate the car for what it is. It's just not something that fits my needs. But
yeah, I probably wouldn't buy one of those things either.
Yeah. Perfect car for my mom, though.
Think so?
Yeah. Also, my dad would like it too, because he keeps so many pens around. I called that vehicle the perfect vehicle to store your pens. If you have a pen collection, you can find a spot for it.
Yeah, I think I saw that in your video on it.
I remember a little bit about that.
Yeah. Then I think the coolest feature that sets that vehicle apart, you can fold the front seat flat.
That is awesome. Cool. I always got irritated when the cars that my family has owned in the past, the back seat would fold, but the front seat didn't. I always found that a little weird.
Yeah, that is so utilitarian.
Sense,
I like that. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that it had that, because I was picked up in that car actually I dropped my car off yesterday, but service had closed at the time, so I got my dad to give me a lift home and give me a lift to work. So then the dealer came and picked me up in that exact car, and the backrest was not adjusted properly, so I'm looking for the power switch, because the rest of the seat is power operated. The moving forwards and backwards and lumbar, that's power operated, but the backrest isn't because of that fold flat feature. Yeah. A little interesting how they do it that way, but still, I think that is so cool. I don't know why.
It is a
I'm
cool
so
feature.
Impressed by it. But yeah, that is perfect vehicle for my parents. Once it comes down in price.
All right, what do you guys? Now we shall move on to our next topic, which is let me look. It is Apple's announcement for new accessibility features today, including eye tracking, music haptics, and vocal shortcuts.
Oh, I saw that. That is kind of cool. The thing that I like about it, there's now something where you can like reduce car sickness.
Oh yeah, that is awesome. That's
cool.
all. I don't think that everybody needs to be reviewing their screens in the car. Like I think you might be a little addicted to that. Like you might be too addicted to your devices if you have to worry about.
I mean, if you're on a 10-hour car ride somewhere, if you just like something like Alpha would do, he doesn't like planes. So if he was a passenger, for 10 hours, you want to have something there.
I was a passenger for a 10-hour car ride once from once, and I for once, and
Was
I
that
never.
your recent trip, or
No, that was not.
Or
That
was
was
this-
not my recent trip. That was not my recent trip, as otherwise I wouldn't have been able to get there and back in one day.
oh, okay.
This is back in
How long ago was that?
2017. But I was on a 10-hour car trip, and I managed to. And because the scenery changed, I was just not. I just wasn't really bored.
Wait, you were also like what, 8?
I was 9.
Yeah.
Now, that might
But
explain-
even
my mom
nowadays, I
keeps-
wouldn't.
My
but
mom is so
even-
confused every time she rides passenger in my car down to Wisconsin. She keeps getting sick for some reason.
Who
And I guess that's
does?
because she takes her eyes off the road and reads a book in the car the entire time.
Who does?
My mother.
Why? Yeah, why should she should maybe stop reading in the car?
I think she
know?
does it because she hates it when I drive.
Yeah, my mom's always getting like, I don't know if she's getting car sick or what, but my mom doesn't like my driving because I'm not the kind of person to just slow down like 5 miles an hour to take a turn. If it's uncomfortable, I don't care. There's nothing in my car that's going flying, so I'm gonna take a turn.
Yeah,
as
I
fast
do.
as I
Yeah, my mom
legally
whines about
and
that too.
physically
My mom
can.
whines about that too. When I take turn, one time when I was taking a turn at like 15 miles an hour, and mind you, I had to because I could see car. So I was on a 2-lane road, and there were cars that and I was making a left turn, and I could see cars coming the other direction. My mom told me, "You gotta take the turn slower, Teddy," and I was like, and I responded, "There are cars," and she couldn't see the cars coming, mind you, and cars coming, mind you, and she. Yeah, I could, and I said, and I realized, and so I had to make a turn at 15 miles an hour. Yeah, my mom said, that's too fast. And then when I told my mom there were cars coming, mom said, there are no cars coming.
You know what the thing is? For whatever reason, some people will take turns. They'll slow down to 5 miles an hour, coming off of a 50-mile-an-hour road to take a turn.
Yep.
That's
Oh,
such
yeah.
a bad idea.
If I'm gonna do that, I'm signaling as far away as I can, to the point where if I'm going to be turning, right, I will signal a good quarter mile away because I want people to know, look, I'm about to turn. I'll start slowing
do you wanna
down.
know
I'll get to, like,
something-
25.
You want to know something hilarious? So,
So,
the way I turn to my house, when I come in making a right turn, and there's 2 different ways to get to my house. One where I turn left to go into the drive, one where I go in right. So I'm not completely giving away my location when I say this. But when I turn into my house turning right, it's up a hill, and keep in mind, my road has a 55 mile an hour speed limit because it's a back road. My house is right at the top of the hill. When I turn right, I got someone coming up behind me, 55 miles an hour. Well, they can see me slowing down. I signal early when I get to the top of the hill so they know I'm turning. What they do is, it's a no passing zone. Pass me.
you know what's really stupid?
I've seen one accident from that once. One that has caused one accident from just me or one of my family members turning into our driveway, right turn into our driveway, and the driver behind us going 55 miles an hour passes us, and there has somebody else actually coming.
Did you
It has
stick
caused
around
an accident
to
before.
Did you stick around to give your intelligence on the accident? Rat the person out.
Nope. I was too young at the time. I was too young.
But
So.
Huh?
I was too young when it happened, but yeah, it's a dangerous thing that many people do.
Well, I'm
yeah,
surprised.
someone tried doing that on the road kind of next to my house, and I think I told this a few weeks ago. I was going down the road, right, and there's this dude who's passing a good, like, probably 10 cars. He's in a Dodge Durango. He's got to be coming up 100 miles an hour into...
What? Oh, it was the
you
guy
know-
in a ski mask that was probably running from the cops because he broke into a building.
I don't know, but whatever it was, dude was going what had to be 100 miles an hour into oncoming traffic, which I was the only one in the other lane, but onto oncoming traffic, past a blind turn. I'm sitting
Ooh.
there, I'm like, what? And I'm with my buddy. I was so mad. Like
Yeah.
but one thing, something really stupid happened to me yesterday. Some dude was road raging in his company car. And you know what the funny part about it is? It's a pizza joint that I go to on a regular basis.
Oh dear.
What's road
So
raging?
I was going the speed limit. You know, I was going the speed limit, right? And he starts getting up behind me, right? He starts tailgating me, so I'm like, oh man, I guess this guy wants to go a little slower. So I slow down a little bit because I don't, I just slow down a good like 5 miles an hour. And I'm going 5 miles under the speed limit, and he's mad. So he backs up because every time I've gotten tailgated, if I just slow down a bit, they get off me. So then I go back
Hmm.
up to, well, the speed limit. What else would I be going? I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna break the law, right? But
Yep.
then he gets back on me, so I go back down 5 under. So then I go up a little bit, and then the second it opens to a double lane road, he passes me aggressively, and I see, his company logo. I'm like, oh, I go to that place. Stupid guy. I'm like, how stupid do you gotta be to tailgate me and get all angry in your company car with your logo on it?
It's so
Yeah,
dumb.
that's not good for your
It's so dumb to watch
business.
people in company cars do that. It's bad advertising on the business, but also it makes you really easy to track down.
It's so
Yeah.
stupid. And it's like I was going for, legally the speed limit, right? Because nobody wants to admit to a crime on this podcast, but and he was
No.
still getting mad. My thing is if someone's going the speed limit, let them be. You don't know what their situation is. You know, they could be worried about getting pulled over. I was like that when I was about to get my license because if I got pulled over, that was going to be, a problem. So I was trying to go, close to the speed limit as I could. So I understand, people have needs to go exactly the speed limit or even a little under. When you're going like, 40 in a 50, that's when I get a little angry.
Yeah,
But
same here, same here. Unless it's a big truck hauling something, then I
and
don't
then the
like that at
especially
all.
is the thing that's like especially weird to me. Cops are very like active on the road that I was going. So however fast this dude wanted to go, I don't know what his deal was. It was a single lane road. He goes faster. There could be a cop at because this is that road where there's like a bunch of like blind turns. He turns a corner.
Hmm.
He's getting hit by a cop. Oh, another
Yeah,
thing that
that's.
happened to me yesterday. I was in the left turn lane. I was pulling up to a light. When I was pulling up to it, I was the first person there. The light changed to a green arrow. So I start going. I didn't stop fully. I got to like 5 miles an hour, and then I got the green arrow. So I start going. All of a sudden, this old lady pulls out in front of me because she ran the red light at the other end.
Classic.
And not
Yep.
only did she run the red light, but she is coming into my lane. She's not going, into the correct lane. She's going into oncoming traffic. So I had to slam the
Ooh.
brakes. And one thing I will know, I had my new iPad in the back, and it flew forward. The case protected it, surprisingly. But I looked and I'm like, what the hell, lady? And I lay on the
That's
horn,
why
and
that's
I was so mad.
Yeah, my dad actually talked to an emergency room doctor, and the emergency room doctor said that advised not to ever turn, not to ever turn go as soon as the light turns green because there will always be people on the opposing ends that run the red lights, and I always check just for red light runners before
I
like
would
go.
have usually I give it, I look at the surroundings and then I start going. But you know, I had no visibility there because there's this big truck, not truck, bus, blocking my view of where the
Mm.
Yeah, that's a
so I was
classic
yeah, and
scenario.
also I was not like at the front of the light. I was still pulling up to the light. So when I started going, it's like if anybody ran that, this person had to run it like intentionally, just not want to stop. There had to be a good 5, maybe 7 seconds of the light being
Yeah,
red
that's not
before this
good at
person
all.
ran it.
And my dad actually So he oftentimes encounters traffic lights when there will be three when there will be when there there's one city that my dad goes to where he go when he drives traffic light when he drives in it, there's there's all whenever the red light goes whenever the light turns red, there's always three cars that go there's always three cars that run the red light, to the point where my dad basically has to drive offensively in that city.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trepetoski, where there's a four-way intersection, and literally there is one light cycle, one dedicated full-minute light cycle for people turning left out of the hospital.
Wow.
That's it. It's a full-minute light cycle dedicated only for the people turning left to get out of the hospital. And boy, does everyone get frustrated waiting when they get their turn to go and nobody else can go. Not even the people going straight or right leaving the hospital. That light is dedicated for people turning left out of the hospital.
Jeez.
Otherwise, you're not going anywhere.
At least in your state, you live on back roads and you can go 55 miles an hour, whereas usually in back roads in my state, you can only go, if you're lucky enough, 45 miles, you can only go between usually 30 and 45 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Because my state assigns stupidly low speed limits.
Me too.
Yeah, that's dumb. Though usually we actually go around 60 up here, at least on the highway portions.
Yeah, 60 miles an hour on those kinds of highways on the UP, though, that's reasonable.
Everyone's
That's reasonable
here, yeah.
And there was a divide.
40 miles an hour. Sorry, what's up?
Oh, what were we gonna say?
I was gonna say 40 miles an hour here pretty much means people will go 55.
Yeah.
It's not even
The
like
average
it's not
speed.
safe.
The average speed.
Completely safe. It's just
People in my area, I honestly think on interstates, especially in my area, they should just raise the speed defaults. The default speed limit on the interstate highway system in the U.S., I'm sorry, but it needs to be raised to 80, and possibly, it should be 80 in basically every state.
If you ask me,
Yeah.
I think for our west to east interstates, like I-80, I-70, for example, I think we should just treat it like a German Autobahn.
No, not...
I mean, then you get the stupid kids who get into their Infinity G37s or whatever and turn that into their own personal drift track.
Yeah!
In Germany, it works. It works in Germany just
the kids
fine.
aren't as stupid. In Germany,
Also,
the kids aren't as stupid.
Germany, it was primarily a public transportation country. So yeah, I think there should be a highway, possibly out west, where you can go. That is true. The Autobahn does have speed limits now.
Well, there are
part of
some
it does.
speed limits in like the city sections of the Autobahn, but if I recall, at nighttime, a lot of those speed limits are changed to de-restricted just for nighttime. Because that's when the road gets decongested.
Yeah,
a lot of the speed limits there are so weird because you'll have some restricted sections, primarily in the city sections, and they also are time dependent. So depending on the time of day will actually dictate how fast you can go on the Autobahn.
I wish that was more of a standard here in the United States, because there's a lot of times there's actually a great example is in my closest big city, when my dad and I were driving through there early in the morning, it was actually it had a reasonable amount of traffic, and I'd say that it'd be safe to go 65 or 70 in that kind of traffic condition. But then in rush hour, then 55 is definitely, which is what it is. 55 to 60 is fair.
So, I don't know. Personally, I wish we kind of had a German Autobahn here. but that's just
Yes,
me.
and
I
in
guess.
in my city or in my local city where I live, there's a road in town that when it's not that has a speed limit restricted to 30 miles an hour, even which in heavy traffic is okay. When it's
Oh no,
light
that happens all over the place.
when the
In
traffic is
my
light, then it's when the traffic is light, then it should then I'm sorry, but it needs to be 45.
You should see Rush Hour in downtown Houghton.
Let me guess, it's very slow.
The speed limit there is 25 miles an hour, and that's US 41.
Oh my gosh! 25 miles an hour. Oh, in my city, there's actually a road. There's one of the main highways through my city, mind you. Even when you get out to the countryside, when it should realistically be 65 miles an hour speed limit, it's 40. And then there's a divided highway not far from where I live that it's not fully controlled access, but it's a divided highway. It has a speed limit of 55 miles an hour.
Yeah.
That sounds 10 miles too low.
Yeah, meanwhile, US 41 goes straight through downtown Houghton right before you turn onto the bridge.
They should
So,
build a
you're limited
they
to
should build a
25 miles an
bypass
hour.
for Houghton, or even better than yet, how about a freeway through Houghton?
Yeah, that's not happening anytime soon. Because I don't know who our civil engineer is, but whoever that civil engineer is needed to be fired last century.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
there are just a lot of eggheads that run this country's I guess highway system.
Oh, we don't even need to get into. Oh, shall we get into how out of grid the U.S. highway system is?
I-99 being west of I-95.
Or no, it's west of I-81.
That too.
Or I-85 running to I-65 and the possibility of an extension to run to I-20. Or I-59, excuse me. I-59 and 20. That, oh, my man, mind you that US 41 is technically out of grid for its entire route south of Nashville. Because
US 41 does not run through North Carolina.
I meant south of Nashville.
Oh, Nashville. I thought you said
Yeah.
Asheville.
Yeah, south of Nashville, then it's out of grid because it's technically supposed to be a lower number than 31, which runs, but it's not.
Yep, the highway system here makes no sense. And again, it doesn't make much sense in Europe either. So,
Yeah.
I think it's pretty low on the list of priorities to deal with that.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't think no one else seems to care about how highways are numbered.
I just wish that we had higher quality roads up here.
Same. But you know what we do care about.
Getting back on topic.
Yes, I agree.
It's actually we've ran out of time actually.
Yeah.
Oh dang,
It's almost
8:57.
9.
So shall we wrap this show up now?
I have a little bit more time. I don't know about you guys, but it's up to y'all.
Yeah, I don't
a tiny
have.
bit more time too.
Yeah, I don't.
Is
Yeah,
there
I
anything
usually-
important left that we want to talk about, or?
There is some stuff. There's some stuff, but we've covered the majority. The only extra thought that I should give it is on Google. on the Apple's new accessibility features, and then we're done with all our really crucial topics, is that I think that the music feature where you can listen, where you can feel the music to help with deaf people, that is an amazing feature, because that's an amazing feature. However, and the eye tracking, it probably won't work that well on iOS devices, but and it would hurt, and I think you think it would hurt your eyes, but that's really cool.
I mean, I feel like it would with Face ID technology, though. Face ID technology would actually be really nice.
Yeah, and technically it does
Face
eye
ID.
tracking when you do use Face ID, because it detects if your eyes are... It detects if you're looking at it. So...
Yeah, but how would you navigate around the device?
Same as Vision Pro.
Yeah, you'd have to use eye tracking like in Vision Pro, which how's the Vision Pro selling again? And more importantly, who's talking about it now?
Yeah, well, I mean,
Now
if you
that I
made the
think
Vision
about
Pro
it-
$500, I think a lot of people would be buying it.
I'm not looking at the phone. Oh, shoot, I already looked at it, darn it. Alright, let's try this again. Yeah, it does eye tracking.
Huh, let me look.
My phone already does that. I had my eyes wide open, but I was not looking at it. And then when I looked at it, it unlocked.
Yep.
I gotta get ready to go now, actually, but,
All right. Well, how about let's wrap this show up right now. And so, as always, thank you all for tuning in to another episode of the iTunes Fanboy Podcast. As always, I'm Teddy Maggart from the iTunes Fanboy.
Tabby Cat 406.
My name is Alpha DeWolf from the Random Alpha.
And as always, we were saying goodbye for now. And so, we hope you all have a wonderful time. And we hope to see you again next week for the start of season 4.
Yeah,
Or
I
actually,
guess
no,
this
the
is
season 3 finale. No, we'll do the season 3 finale. We still have a few stuff to discuss before we start season 4.
I guess so. Anywho,
So,
see ya.
see you guys
All right,
later.
see ya.